Andrea, Jesse Peterson, how are you today?
Good, how are you?
Doing well, doing well. Thanks for taking the time to meet with me.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So, as you know, for these Kent & Hawkins, we've been talking about the contract, and we already went over it, and we're super excited to have your store in our mall. So, how are you feeling about that?
We're feeling fantastic, Andrea. Honestly, I feel like this is going to be a good location for us. I will mention that as a part of Discount, we are a chain location, so we have 200 stores throughout the nation, and we've seen a lot of growth and a lot of progress. The main issue with us, and probably the reason why we're sitting across from each other today, is that we need consistency from contract to contract. So in all the 200 other locations, we have similar wording in the contract, which allows us a lot of flexibility to roll things out nationwide. And so definitely that's kind of something that's not feasible for us to have one location, as you can imagine.
Yeah, definitely.
That's different from all the others and isn't able to roll out the fantastic marketing schemes and isn't able to roll out the new products.
Yeah, totally. I totally get it. The market is changing, and your guys' brand image really relies on your consistency. So we totally understand. We were looking at your class, and we understand your growth and your innovative ideas, and we really appreciate them, and really want to have them in the store, in the mall. I think it will be an amazing idea. We do understand that you guys need the flexibility, and we were reading over your Article 22, and we totally understand why your guys' main idea is to have this. As a landlord, I couldn't completely offer you to have this clause be this way, just because I have to look out for all the other businesses in the mall. So we were wondering if there was any way that we could go over it and see where we can work it out, if that was a possibility for you.
Absolutely. I understand where you're coming from completely. I mean, if I were in your situation, from what I understand, this is the biggest project you guys have done at Hawkins so far.
We're super excited to have you guys.
Right. That's awesome. That's fantastic. And so I can understand where you're coming from, trying to make sure that it's going to be a successful project for you and that your other tenants are happy. Just to kind of set some of those fears at ease for you, we've honestly found that in a lot of our other locations, the developers have been very happy with this clause and the wording of it, just because it allows us that flexibility to do and make the changes that need to happen so that we're constantly bringing that foot traffic. And honestly, with the other satellite tenants, I think that far from being an issue for them, I think it's more of a selling point. I mean, just the confidence of knowing that Discount is there and that we're going to be constantly bringing people past our shops has been something that they really enjoy.
No, yeah, that's totally, we totally get it, and we're super excited, and also I totally understand the standpoint and how that is beneficial for everyone in the mall. And it just reminds me of one time when I was reading something about Apple stores, and how with Apple Store, people were super excited to have them in the mall because they will bring so many people to the other stores, even if they had nothing to do, and people would just visit the mall just for that store. So I totally get it from that point of view. The only situation that we are worried about is that we don't offer this to another store in the mall, and it will be kind of inconsistent from our part to allow complete control over subletting and assigning to just one store in the mall, and not opening this idea for all the other stores at the mall. It would be kind of not the best or the most professional decision from our part to do that, because we have to look out for every store that works with us. So we were wondering if there was any way that we could work something out about the subletting and assigning aspect of your clause.
Sure. I think specifically as far as subletting goes, it's kind of a part of who we are, and in our flexibility culture, that's a big thing for us. I mean, as you mentioned, you brought up Apple. Retail is definitely its own kind of animal, and I mean, especially now with Amazon being able to deliver practically anything you want to your doorstep the next day, or I mean, Walmart or Target can just load the groceries or whatever you purchase from their stores right up into your trunk. So definitely retail is very unpredictable. And so with the subletting, it's kind of important for us to be able to have other shops within our store, whether that's going to be like a makeup store like MAC or Sephora, or whether that's going to be a little candle shop or a jewelry store. We definitely need that flexibility to say, hey, we're going to bring these throughout the nation into all the stores, and obviously having to negotiate individually on every time that we bring someone in is going to be kind of difficult for us.
Yeah, definitely. So we love that idea, and we love that you guys are so motivated about innovating in the industry and how motivated you are to change with the times and the market and everything going on. That's extremely impressive. We were wondering if it could be a possibility, and this is going out of everything else that we have done with any other store. It's just because we do understand that it is a great opportunity for us, and really want to close this deal with you guys and have you guys be completely comfortable to do what you are known for and keep that consistency. So would a previous meeting with the landlord, would it be possible for us to have a meeting in any case that subletting or any other issue like product changes or more innovations, like something like that, but specifically subletting would happen, if that makes sense?
Right. And I guess just maybe help me understand what your main concern with subletting is, just because I know that it's something that a lot of stores do. And obviously, I don't want to get caught in a situation where down the road, anytime that we're trying to make changes, we're having to meet with you. Again, just would be a great business model for us. And I feel like at the same time, might get kind of tedious for you anytime a new product is coming out to have to meet with you. So maybe just help me understand sort of where your main concern is with this.
Sure. So for our subletting concern is just, this reminded me of back home. I'm from Mexico City. So back home, there is this store that is also owned by Walmart, but it's just like the Mexican version of Walmart called Bodega Aurrera, something else. And I remember like clearly visiting there one time, and we will go to the pharmacy and get what we needed. But then they told us, oh, could you like please go pay to the other pharmacy that's like right in front. So we went there and we paid for like the goods we were buying, and we asked like, oh, is this like the exact same pharmacy as one right in front? And they told us, oh yeah. And we're like, but why? Like, is this like good for the business? Like, why do you guys have to do that? And they told us, well, the landlord had this issue where there was some contract that couldn't be met, and if they allowed the previous owner of that space to sublet and assign, and they had to come to me, like in the end, there was like some issues, and if they didn't take action of putting the other pharmacy there, it would affect all the other stores. So yeah, maybe it's not like super viable for them, but it was a last minute type of change that kind of like helped them get all the other stores to still be beneficial and profitable, and still keep like the calm. And maybe it wasn't the best way for the landlord to be profitable, but it kind of helped the other businesses. So we just don't want something similar to happen in a way of, this is our last resort type of afford. Maybe we can figure something out. I don't know if that like helps understand the situation better, or if it's like any beneficial to know. We just kind of like got reminded of that while we were reading about the article, and we were like, we know that you guys wouldn't do something similar, and it will be like better handled. But it's just those fears of working with other people that you can't control what will like happen in the future. So maybe with subletting, that's like an example that we have a concern about. For the products, we would just like to know, how are you guys feeling about the future, about if you guys feel like you're going to stay in the soft goods area, if you guys feel like you're going to innovate into something else, and that time frame.
Right. So just to make sure we're on the same page here, I'm hearing that you're kind of concerned about the other smaller tenants having issues with some product that we might bring in later on. Is that what I'm hearing?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay, great. So, and I'll just ask you this, Andrea. I mean, have you ever heard the adage, don't let the tail control the dog?
Yeah.
Great. My grandpa used to say it all the time growing up. To make sure that you understand sort of where the most important thing is, and make sure that the minor things don't control as much. And I would say kind of in this situation, I just wouldn't want us to get caught up in this idea that the smaller tenants are the dog, because definitely those smaller satellite tenants are more of the tail.
Yeah.
And so definitely wouldn't want to confuse that and think that they are the main, and sort of bow to whatever whims as far as that goes, whereas Discount is going to be holding over 25% of the mall and bringing in a lot of the customers that are even going to walk past those other satellite stores. So I just want to make sure that we don't get caught up in that.
No, yeah, definitely. I totally understand, and that's why I think that's why I can offer you something extra or something not extra, just something different, since you guys are so important to the mall. And that will be if anything comes in the future where you have to sublet, if there could be a negotiation, maybe not completely a negotiation, but a previous talk with me about who that business you're subletting would be, that would be really appreciated. We will allow you to sublet to the person that you have in mind, but a previous talk with me that will be extremely appreciated, just so we prepare and we know where we're standing with all the other stores. How do you guys feel about that?
Right. Again, I totally understand where you're coming from. Obviously, you're trying to keep everybody in the mall happy and everybody content.
Yeah.
And just as kind of a future scenario, I mean, imagine that here in a few months we decide to nationally put Yankee candles in all of our stores, just to kind of draw people in. It's close to the holidays, and everyone is buying gifts, and so we decide that that's going to be a good idea. And then we come to you and you say, no, we actually don't want Yankee candles, and so then we have one location in all of the chain that isn't able to sell those.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So obviously we want to keep you on the end, and we want to make sure that you feel confident in what's happening in the Discount store and as the anchor store. But definitely it would be a difficult situation for us in that case, to be stuck with you saying, yeah, no, we're actually not okay with that. And then, I mean, we advertise nationally that they're going to be in the stores, and then somebody comes to the Boston store and they're not in our stores.
Definitely. And I think that if that scenario appears, if we do have a Yankee store in the mall, I think it will be open to negotiation, and they could totally understand, because again, you're the main business in our mall that we want to take care of. And I think just being open to that negotiation in the future, so we all understand where we're standing, and we obviously will give you guys a preference, because we understand you're consistent and your value proposition as an overall brand. But just being open to a talk before subletting would be extremely appreciated from our part. Would you guys be willing to do something similar to that, or in that realm?
I think it would be possible for maybe the manager in this area to speak with you when those changes are being made. Again, just I mean, imagine that scenario. If we do negotiate and it's not able to happen, our hands are going to be kind of tied, and that'll be difficult for us. But I think it's maybe something that we can find a. It's just very difficult for us, as you can imagine.
And we totally understand, and we deeply apologize for this inconvenience. We just want to look out for all the other stores, and we will be looking out for you. And we just want to make this work. And I understand that it's unlikely to happen in the future, but if it does, so we could all be open to a negotiation and a conversation of what's better for everyone and for everyone in the mall, especially you guys, to be comfortable and keep true to your true colors and your brand overall.
Absolutely. That completely makes sense. I mean, I think it's something we're willing to do under the condition that we have maybe a shorter lease period, Just because if we're tied down for 25 years and during those 25 years, every time we make a change, we're having to renegotiate. But if we were able to do maybe more of a 5-year lease, and then under those conditions, and then obviously if things go well and we feel good with the way that everything is happening in between the two companies, then we could go on from there. Is that acceptable for you guys?
So I think I was told, and we're not like allowed to go over the contract that was already and clauses that were already kind of talked about in the previous contract. So I don't know if I could completely offer you that offer, but how do you guys feel if we would allow you to sublet to one business completely, like the first time? Like for the first time you guys need to sublet, you don't need to talk to us, or you just need to kind of like let us know. We don't have a say in it. You guys do whatever you feel like it's the best for your business. But if it happens again, the negotiation or like a talk with us, we wouldn't be controlling what you guys are doing either, but just like kind of like giving us like a heads up of what's happening. Would that be better for you guys?
Okay, perfect. That's time.
Yes. Okay. Sorry.
No, you're good. Perfect timing.